In 2003, I was working at Camp Nominee in Quebec, just north of Montreal, and it was my third summer. I figured, hey, this year I'm going to drive. You know, I got a lovely Chrysler Dynasty, and it's, you know, a nice ride, and it's comfy. And I'm like, I can do that. How hard is that? So I had the car. I had the will to do it over 3 days. The only thing I didn't have was a driver's license. And when you're driving a car across country, a key aspect of that is the license. You got to have it. But I got into a little tiff with Saskatchewan government insurance, and they told me that your license is suspended until you do a driving test. And you got to pass that test, and you'll get your license back. And I said, nuts to you guys. To hell with you. I don't need no damn license. Who are you to tell me I need a license? So for a few months, I didn't have a driver's license and drove around and did my bit. And even in that time, I did get pulled over by police officers, and I talked my way out of it. So I was like, yeah, Quebec? How far is that? That's like, what, 3,500 kilometers? Pish posh. I can handle that, that's easy. So me and Chrysler Dynasty started trekking down east, and I love to make time, you know? That's one of my things I do. So I kept pushing. I got to Thunder Bay. It must have been, I don't know, 1, 2 in the morning. Like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. I'm full of gusto here. So I kept going, and then I hit a little place called Pass Lake, and it's like there's a trucking lounge there, a motel, and a towing shop, mechanic shop. And I'm like, well, there's a motel there. Maybe I should just, I'll stop there. No, let's keep going. Because it's, you know, I was headstrong. So I kept trucking. It must be 3 in the morning by this point in time. So I'm flying, it's dark out. I wasn't tired at all. I felt pretty good. And all of a sudden in the rear view, there's reds and blues. I'm like, whoa, where'd that guy go? So anyways, I pull over, and I'm like, okay, I got this. No worries, because the way I live my life is, I got this, it's fine. I can handle this. So buddy comes up to the window and says, where are you headed? I said, going to Ottawa. Just left Coupel this morning. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, you know why I pulled you over there? I said, no, I wasn't speeding or anything. Well, son, you were weaving. He goes, weaving? I don't think I was weaving. He says, you were weaving. Okay. What's that get me? Well, you've been drinking? I said, no, I've been driving all day. Okay, well, I'm going to need to see your license and registration. I said, okay, that's cool. So I give him the registration. And then what I normally do is I just screw around in the car for however long it takes for him to give up, looking for my driver's license. So the whole car is full of junk, right? Because I'm moving to Ottawa for 2 months. So I'm preparing to look for this license because I figure he's going to give up, and off I go. So I'm looking. He goes, can you find your license there? Said, no, it's in here somewhere. I can't find it. I don't know. It's here somewhere. Well, I'm going to see it. Oh, okay. So then I kept looking. I knew exactly where my wallet was, so I'm not going to go find my wallet. So I'm looking. No, I threw my arms up again. No, I got nothing for you, pal. I can't find it. It's in here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. Well, you know, I can look it up on the computer. I said, yeah, I know that. Yeah, go ahead. If you need to look up on the computer, that'll be fine. It'll tell you I have a license. So, okay. And then he wanders away. And then I'm like, my head on the steering wheel, I'm like, I am so screwed right now. So anyways, he's back there for about a half hour. So then he finally wanders back. And he says, is there anything you want to tell me, Alan? I said, yeah, I don't got a license. He's like, okay, but you just didn't tell me that before. Well, I figured if I told you, and I looked for my license, and you just pretend, and you said, oh, this guy's fine, and you just let me go. He's like, oh, I see. Oh, well, you know what the problem is now is you don't have a license, so I can't let you go any further. I'm like, well, that's no good. What happens now? He says, well, I'm going to call a tow truck in, and we're going to tow you back to Pass Lake. And I'm like, that's like a half hour the wrong way. He's like, well, you should have thought before you drove the license. I was like, yeah, right, touche. So then another hour goes by, and now it's 3 in the morning, 3:30 in the morning. Tow truck guy comes, and we go head back to Pass Lake. And the tow truck guy, big burly fellow with a big beard, he's like, how come you got pulled over? You drunk or something? I said, no, I'm sober. So what were you doing? I said, I was weaving. Apparently, I don't know. Well, how come he pulled you over? Well, I was weaving, and now I don't have a license. Well, that's not very smart. No thanks. No shit, guy. Now you're telling me that. So we head back to back to Pass Lake, and he says, well, listen, we get back to his tow shop. He goes, I'm going to leave the car in the back of the tow truck until the morning. We'll pull it to the compound and figure out things out there. But there's a motel right there, and you can stay there and we'll talk in the morning. So he didn't lock the car, took the keys with him, and I go to this motel. There's no one there. It's totally empty. No cars, I ring the doorbell, nobody around. I'm like, what the hell kind of motel is this? So I'm like, okay, well, so I slept in the back of the Dynasty, moved some stuff around, and just fell asleep. And just sleep. It's all dark. There's the odd car whizzing by on the highway. And I'm like, I am so fucked right now. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I got no license. I got no car, and I don't know what to do with myself. My normal things are gonna work out mentality completely shot. I'm like, okay, well, this is no good. So the next morning I wake up, and before I open my eyes, I'm like, maybe it was all a dream. And I wake up in the back of a Dynasty, surrounded by a bunch of junk, and I'm like, damn it. Back on this, are we? Okay. So then I get out, I go back across the street to the truckers station there, and I'm trying to figure out my way out. The first thing I did was phone SGI and see if I could get a license without the test. They told me to pound sand. So then I phoned Capel Agencies, and I'm pretty sure I talked to Linda. And she goes, Aleyn, I think there's nothing I can do for you. I think you're kind of hooped out there. And I said, yeah, you're telling me. All right. So I phoned SGI again, and got another different person, and that person also told me to pound sand. I said, okay, this isn't any good for anybody. So then I went back and sat in my car, because it was still in the back of the tow truck. So I'm sitting in the back of this car, thinking, okay, well, I'm so buggered. So then I go back across to the truck lounge. I was supposed to meet up with one of the camp guys at his parents' place in Huntsville. And I had no idea where Huntsville was, or how far it was from Thunder Bay. But FYI, it's a long way. And I didn't know. So I phoned up Buddy and I said, hey, you gotta come get me. Here's the situation. He's like, Al, that's a big ask. I'm like, how far is Huntsville? He's like, 8 hours. 8 hours? Oh, fudge. Okay. So not only do you have to come, but you have to bring somebody else with you that has a license, because you both have to come. Because one has to drive my car and the other guy has to drive your car. Well, I don't know, Al. I don't know if we can do that. But I'll ask around. There's a guy I have in my mind that might be able to help us out. I said, okay. So I sat in this trucker's lounge and just looked around and drank my coffee and watched the world go by. I was trying to dream up ways I can get out of this. So Sean phones back and he says, well, there might be a guy, but I won't know until after lunch. I said, okay, well, I'll hang around here and we'll see what's what. He's like, okay. So I go back to the car, and I'm sitting there. I'm sitting by the tire, watching cars go by. I'm just like, in the depths of despair. Like, I don't know what I'm doing. It was so stupid to go in the first place. All I had to do was do a driving test. That's all. That's it. But I didn't, because I thought I was better. I thought, one part of the story is, don't drive anywhere without a license, and SGI has all the power. Just saying. So I'm sitting there, and an hour rolls by, and I'm just drowning in my own despair. And this truck pulls up. This guy gets out. This guy's dressed fatigues, white t-shirt, army boots, close-cropped hair. I'm like, oh, look at this guy. Okay. He goes to the back of the truck, gets out a big bag, and he pulls out a piece of cardboard. I'm like, okay. Oh, he's a hitchhiker. That's cool. All right. Good for him. He's better off than I am. So he's kind of standing there with his sign. I didn't think much of it. And then I go walking back across the highway to phone Sean again, the guy from down east. And as I walk by the hitchhiker, this fellow's got a sign that says Ottawa. we're riding the back. And I'm like, you gotta be shitting me right now. So I go running back across the street. I phoned Buddy up and said, hey. He's like, Al, I can't get anybody down there. Like, we got things going on, I can't make it back. I can't get to Thunder Bay right there. You know what? I said, I think I have a plan. He's like, what? What kind of plan are you gonna have? I said, well, I'll phone you back in a bit. He says, okay. So I go back across the highway, and this guy's still standing with his son. And I said, hey, you wanna go to Ottawa? He's like, yep. I said, you see that car over there? He's like, yep. Yeah, I said, you're driving that thing to Ottawa. He's like, what? I said, you got a driver's license? He's like, yeah. I said, can I see it? He's like, okay. So he shows me his license. Richard from Calgary. I'm like, all right, Richard, let's go. And he's like bewildered. So we go to the tow truck guy, and the tow truck guy says, sorry man, I can't give you back your car yet. You need a guy with a license. You don't have a license. I said, no, I don't, but this guy does. And the guy says, who's this guy? I said, this guy's Richard. And he's like, okay, so this guy's gonna, I'm telling you, fatigues and army boots, look like he just, skinhead kind of thing going on. So I said, okay, you sure? And I was like, yeah, it's fine. This he's got a license. We're going to Ottawa. So the guy says, can I see your license? And Richard shows him his license. And the tow truck guy just shrugs. He says, okay, here's your keys. So me and Richard pile into the Dynasty, and off we go to Ottawa. And one of the stories he told, so he came from Calgary, and he got about 4 rides to Thunder Bay. And I said, that's pretty good. He said, yeah, it was pretty good. But in Thunder Bay, some guy picked him up, and this guy scared him. He felt he was hepped up on drugs or something. He was sniffing all the time. And Richard didn't feel proper to ride with this guy. So as soon as he saw the truck stop at Pass Lake, he said, let me out here. And the guy, oh, you sure? I'm going, no, I want out, Richard says. I want out of here. So we get, okay, sure enough. And that's when Richard got out, and that's when I saw him from the back of my car. And he had the sign, so me and Richard drove all the way to Ottawa. We listened to music, had a good old time. I found, actually was going through some camp photos. I found a picture of Richard.
Oh, Richard. I wonder where he is.
I don't know. Looks like a happy young bloke. And so it's been 25. I don't know what happened to the guy. I don't remember his last name. But Richard saved my bacon. And it just goes to show you that you need a license to drive anywhere. It also shows me that you always have to trust in yourself and your abilities. And if you believe in yourself, you'll always get where you're going. And that's the end of the show. Thanks, folks.